All right, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. Hope everybody out there's had a great week. You're getting set to have an awesome weekend. Coming up here on the show, a new Brock Purdy contract update from Matt Maiocco, Niners insider for NBC Sports Bay Area. We have some Niners roster moves to talk about. And Puka Nacua, Rams wide receiver, said what about Brock Purdy's looming contract extension? It's all coming up. Before we do all of that, do want to apologize. The 49ers Report was supposed to be a part of our Chat Sports company-wide mock draft yesterday. We were going to go live and talk about the Niners picks and make the selections for San Francisco for the first 3 rounds. I did have a family emergency that I immediately had to tend to and had to catch a flight yesterday. So appreciate the understanding. Sorry we weren't able to go live, but we have you covered with great Niners coverage and draft content in the lead up to the draft, which is coming up next Thursday in less than a week. Let's get the show underway here. So Matt Maiocco, Niners insider for NBC Sports Bay Area, who is very plugged in to the happenings with the 49ers, was on KNBR yesterday. And he said some interesting things about where things stand with the Brock Purdy contract extension. So let's run through what he had to say, and then we'll react to it and take a look at some other contracts for other quarterbacks out there. He said the latest is that the 49ers have made an offer to Brock Purdy. It's kind of sitting out there. Brock Purdy and his camp, and I don't know how much involved Brock is. I'm sure the agent is shielding him from a lot of that stuff. But the offer the Niners have made isn't one that Brock's side is inclined to take at this point, nor will they. He continued by saying, so it's just a matter of trying to find that right number. I think Purdy's camp, it feels like the market is set. The market is what it is. And they believe that he's earned it. You know, Jed York referred to Brock Purdy a couple of weeks ago as a top 10 quarterback. So we'll see how this plays out. But right now, from my understanding, it doesn't sound like anything is close. There will still be, I'm sure, a few more offers exchanged here in the coming weeks. Everybody seems to be confident that it will get done eventually. But it's just kind of this back and forth. I'm not sure that there's a lot more that could happen on the quarterback market that would change how this deal would be structured or the average per year or the signing bonus money. So it's a process, and nothing much has changed over the last couple of weeks. So let's react to a couple of things within there of what Maiocco had to say. He is right in saying that the quarterback market is the quarterback market. And the 49ers probably, it's my guess, have offered Purdy a deal between $45 and $50 million per year. Purdy's camp, understandably, doesn't want to take a contract that's in that neighborhood because they look at what Purdy's been able to do since being inserted as the Niners starting quarterback in 2022, making it to back-to-back NFC championship games. Within that, making it to the Super Bowl, playing well in the Super Bowl, being a couple of plays away from claiming the Niners' 6th Lombardi trophy as an organization. Throughout Purdy's entire tenure as a starting quarterback in this league, he's put up numbers and has played like a top 10 quarterback. He has been elite for a lot of his time as a starter in this league. And so with that being the case, Purdy and his camp want their client, and Purdy probably himself wants to be compensated like a top 10 highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Jed York, the man who writes off on the checks, probably hasn't done himself any favors by saying Purdy is a top 10 quarterback. But if the Niners are offering him 45 to 50, that's outside of the realm of what the quarterback market is for a top 10 quarterback. And so if the Niners are offering Purdy 45 to 50, which is lower than what the going rate is for a top 10 highest paid quarterback, the Niners naturally are probably going to have to up and increase their offer. And that's Jed York's fault. If you're going to go out there and say, our quarterback who's looking for a contract extension is a top 10 guy, well, then you have to give him top 10 money, right? Because when you look at the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks, average annual value per year, Dak Prescott at $60 million per. Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, all at $55 million per year. Tua Tagovailoa, 53.1. Jared Goff, 53. Justin Herbert, 52.5. Lamar Jackson, 52. Jalen Hurts, 51. So all of those quarterbacks are $50 million per year or more. Below 50, Kyler Murray at 46.1. Deshaun Watson at 46. Patrick Mahomes at 45. Kirk Cousins at 45. And Matthew Stafford now at 40. And so there is an argument to be made. Just because the Jags paid Lawrence 55, just because the Packers paid Love 55, just because the Dolphins paid Tua 53 and made the mistake in doing that, doesn't mean the Niners have to make the same mistake, for sure. The Niners can say, well, look at what Patrick Mahomes is making, 45. Look at how the Chiefs have been able to add talent around Mahomes. Mostly on defense, not as much on offense. But Mahomes, a lot of people would say, is the best quarterback in the NFL. He has 3 Super Bowls. 3 of them since 2019. Brock, do you want to continue to be in Super Bowl contention? If that's the case, we want to give you 45 so that we can put together a sound roster. Because with how you played last year, it's become clear you need help around you to reach your peak and play your best football. Totally understandable points from both sides. And ladies and gentlemen, this is how contract negotiations go. When you approach your employer about wanting a new contract, you're always going to start high and then come down. Your employer is always going to start low and then go up from there. So this back and forth is going to continue in these contract negotiations. At what point are they going to come to a deal? We don't know. How much? We're not sure. And what will that number be? And which side will come up? Which side will come down? To be determined. How long is this going to drag out? We'll see. The Niners have let these contract negotiations drag out. It's burned them. Maiocco is also right. What's going to happen in the quarterback market to really reset this? I don't think much is going to happen in the quarterback market to reset this. But with those quarterbacks who we talked about, how many of those quarterbacks is Brock Purdy better than? How many of those quarterbacks has he put up better numbers than? 2023, he was top 5 in MVP voting. One of the most efficient quarterback seasons we've seen in recent memory, right? I think he's better than Dak. I think he's better than Lawrence. I think he's better than Love. I think he's better than Tua. I think he's better than Kyler Murray. And so you see why there's that back and forth between both sides. As for guaranteed money, that's, of course, a huge factor. Josh Allen, average annual value is at 55. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, and really tied for second. But the guaranteed money, he's number 1 at 250. Dak Prescott got $231 million in guaranteed money. Deshaun Watson, $230. Joe Burrow, $219. Trevor Lawrence, $200. Justin Herbert, $193. Lamar Jackson, $185. Jalen Hurts, $179. And so that kind of gives you an idea of where things are financially with other quarterbacks. And of course, just like you as an employee compares yourself against other employees in your field, same happens with quarterbacks. Now, the timeline's very important here because I think it's important for the Niners to get this deal done and out of the way soon so that Purdy is with this team at the most important position, getting the reps in, because offensive continuity, offensive rhythm, timing is so important at the quarterback spot. First day of the offseason workout program is April 22nd. That's 4 days away. OTA offseason workouts, May 27th, 28th, May 30th, June 2nd, and the 3rd, and June 5th. Mandatory minicamp right after that, June 10th and 11th. And training camp with the Niners usually gets underway late July into August. So Niners got to get this deal done with their quarterback sooner rather than later. You can't let this linger into training camp at the quarterback position. More to get to here on the show, but first, our sponsor for today's program, our friends at Game Time. If you're looking to get tickets to go to a sporting event, Niners game, Warriors playoff game, San Francisco Giants game, what a start they're off to. Or you want to go to a concert, comedy show, theater event, something else, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS. It's written on my hat right here. For $20 off, terms apply, first purchase only. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. They make buying tickets faster and easier than any other app in the ticketing marketplace. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. So use that code CHATSPORTS, terms apply, first purchase only. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Shout out to Game Time for making today's show possible. Niners roster moves. 2 exclusive rights free agents on Thursday, formally signing their one-year contract tenders with the Niners. Offensive lineman Austin Pleasants, who they picked up last year after the rash of injuries along the offensive line, signing that contract. He is a candidate to compete for the team's backup tackle spot because Jalen Moore got $15 million per year from the Kansas City Chiefs. Tight end Jake Tonches finalizing his one-year contract as well. And as players with fewer than 3 accrued NFL seasons, Pleasants and Tonches not eligible to negotiate with teams other than the 49ers. Pleasants appeared in the Niners' final 3 games last year at left tackle, sharing time with Charlie Heck after injuries to Trent Williams and Jalen Moore. San Francisco tendered Pleasants for the upcoming 2025 season with a non-guaranteed deal of $960,000. Tonches, on the other hand, joined the Niners practice squad in 2023, had a pretty good camp last year, appeared in 16 games a year ago, saw limited time as a reserve tight end, but was one of the team's core special teams players, and as we know, the Niners made so many additions with that special teams unit this offseason. That was certainly a point of emphasis for San Francisco. Round out with this. Puka Nacua was on Julian Edelman's podcast, and Edelman was like, is Purdy's contract going to start with the 5? Nacua said, no, I don't think so. How about with the 4? And Nacua said, I think in the mid-4s. Furthermore, Nacua believes that the 49ers Super Bowl window would close if San Francisco pays Purdy $50+ million per year. And Nacua said, I think he seems like a smart guy. They have a chance to still be in their window. I think if he goes for a 5, $50 million plus, then the window closes. I disagree that if Purdy signs a deal 50 plus, the Super Bowl window closes. The NFL salary cap is going up. Jalen Hurts signed a contract, $50+ million. The Eagles have a loaded roster outside of Hurts. They won a Super Bowl. Brock Purdy can sign a contract, $50 million plus. You can still have an excellent roster with highly paid players like Philadelphia. And if you build through the draft and hit on your picks, you can have a loaded team with talent that is also very deep. The Niners last year were not deep. And to a lot of their best players, they were all injured. They get healthy. You get that influx of youth. You have upper echelon talent. Your star players play up to their caliber. They stay healthy. You build through the draft. You can win a Super Bowl with your quarterback making $50+ million, who's not an alien quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. Now, Purdy's going to have to play well. Jalen Hurts in his 2 biggest games this year, NFC Championship game, and in the Super Bowl, played incredible. He won Super Bowl MVP. Throughout the year, though, he relied on his defense. He relied on their ground game. Saquon Barkley, great offensive line, great skill position talent. He didn't put up insane passing numbers. Now, he accounted for more than 30 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. Brock Purdy is capable of doing something like that, where other players help lift him up. So I disagree that the Niners Super Bowl window is closed if Purdy makes 50 plus, because I've seen it be done as recent as this past year. But the Niners have to hit on their picks in the draft to put together a really good roster around Purdy. Now, if Purdy's making $60 million, then the roster could get watered down and you don't have the flexibility to be as aggressive in your spending in paying players like the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott's making $60 million per year. Got a ton of guaranteed money, right? That roster has become watered down, and that team has become too Dak reliant. You don't want the Niners to be too Purdy reliant. It's also not how Kyle Shanahan wants his teams to be built or his offense to be built. You got to have complementary football to be successful in Shanahan's system. Ground game, pass game works off of that. It's doable. In 2023, Christian McCaffrey had more than 2,000 all-purpose yards. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk all had more than 1,000 all-purpose yards. And Brock Purdy was top 5 in MVP voting, and he was incredible. So it can be done. We've seen it be done, and I think it can and will be done. So Puka Nacua, I disagree to a large degree, but if the Niners do pay Purdy $60 million, I disagree with going that high. I think if it's 50 to 55, that's great for Purdy, and it's great for the 49ers. All right, going to hop on out of here. Just wanted to hop on the camera, on the microphone, talk some Niners here. Going on with Larry Krueger this afternoon on the Krug Show. Be on the lookout for that. Great coverage to come in the lead up to the draft. Don't forget to subscribe. See ya.